Hello, my name is Mark Anthony Abel, and I'm the creative director of Clusterview. Now, one of the things that role actually affords me is the ability to think about what people want to see and what kind of things are interesting and how can I bring something special to the site. Now, first of all, think about Clusterview, just the name alone gives us a wide scope. It's like, okay, it could be anything, it could, whose views, any views, many views, a multitude of views, all a cluster of views. So, it means that's just so open. It's like, wow, I can do anything. So my first thing I want to say out there, because I felt, what? If I was given a chance in any job, any role, you're given a chance to do something really special with your first task, don't get me wrong, other things I've had to do, but this is my first post. What would you do with that? In this case, being a black man, I thought, what? I'm going to say something I think is going to send positive ripples around the world if it reaches that far and get people talking. So the thing is, this is my first thing. Okay, black middle class. Why have we not got a black established middle class in the UK? And I can say that's so important. If we were to have one, it would be incredible. I know we have this idea now in the UK where class is not cool, whatever. I get it. But that's something that's because of the fact that, okay, we have class being an issue, the class system being an issue in the UK, and it's an issue that's been going on for generational centuries within, the white communities. But as a black person, it's something that I think we need. I think we need that. We need that because for us, it's like having that, those, okay, just say role models, not role models that you feel, they're 1 minute and they're gone again. I mean, if in the music industry, they tend to have only one black artist pretty much any time, one black artist is on the radio, and then, in sport, yes, there's black guys playing sport and that's fantastic, but that's one thing area. What I want to see is the academics or the academia. I want that to be where we center or we start finding our foundation, where we're actually educating ourselves to a level where we can do great things, where we're doctors, where we're scientists, and where we're teachers who are making the difference, who are educating our own, and people just generally. I mean, it's like, I don't even think it should be about, okay, black, white. It should never be about that. But the fact is, we're not represented in that area, not in the levels that we should be. Now, I'm not going to say anything negative about anyone else, because the last thing I want to do is that this Clusterview is all about unity. So as a creative director, the last thing I want to do is say anything that actually seems that I'm not, in any way about that. But I will say that as a black person, culturally we've had, it's been difficult for black people. And let's say, okay, when I was in the gang, I felt, I joined the gang as a child, and this is incredible. Isn't it incredible? I was in gangs. I was in a gang. Can you believe that? I was in a gang. I look back and I can't even believe it. I literally cannot believe it, but it was real. And it was because just the mentality, the stereotypes, the attitudes, it was like, okay, education was a negative. And, although I was a smart kid, I was being bullied because I was a smart kid. It was a negative to be smart. And where did those things come about? We could dig further and we'll know. And there'd be people out there, there'd be psychiatrists out there, there'd be PhD students out there who will know exactly where that came from. But the fact is, nothing's changed. And so culturally, we have these young people who are deciding where we're going to go, and they don't know any better. So, and that's not knocking them, because, how can you blame them, for God's sake? They're not established. They don't have millions of pounds. They don't have homes. They don't have houses. They're trying their best to create something, to create an economy. And in that economy, sadly, it's a false economy, or in fact, because it's owned by the people, who want us to be seen in that way, who want black people to be seen in a negative way. Because if they want us to be seen in a positive way, they would support that. So anyway, what I say is we need a black established middle class in the UK. And by having that, it means sending our kids to private schools. It means giving our kids opportunities that we didn't have, great opportunities, greater than they get in a state school. But if they're in a state school being pushed, to achieve things academically so they can compete with everyone else, every other nation here. And to make us feel more like we're part of this country. It's very important that we feel that we're part of this country. I felt as a child I wasn't, and it was very sad because I ought to have felt that way, but I was never given the opportunities to do so. And every which way, it became difficult for me to achieve that. So let's not dwell too much on the negative, and let's think about what positive things we can achieve from having a black middle class, I think there'll be so many great people. Great people will come out of that. And more importantly, we can aspire. We can aspire to greatness. And we can believe it's possible because we can see people like ourselves achieving. In any other group, in any other, group or of people, Asian people, white people, Chinese people, everybody else, there is clearly, you can see the difference. You can see that they have a class system of some kind, which basically gives them the chances. Now, if you think about Jamaica, look at Jamaica. There's a black middle class there, a black upper class, and every other type of class. The ruling class is there. You look in America, you've got the black middle class in America. In New York, you've got the Caribbeans out there in Queens. I mean, I saw it in my own two eyes how amazing they were and what they did. I mean, they put on events, they built their community, they support the community. It was incredible to see. Incredible to see. They are so far ahead of us in the UK, and all I can say is that we need to catch up. And I think having a black middle class will allow us to really do something about the kind of crime that we see in the UK, what the kind of direction our kids are going in, because none of this makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. As a kid who found myself trapped in that situation, I look back now and I'm an adult and I think, God, how did that happen to me? How did I find myself in those situations? And that just tells me that whatever's going on, it's like I'm living in a complete different world from everybody else, and it's unfair. So I was one of the smart ones, but if we can't open those doors and make it possible for young people to find their way through, young black people to find their way through, what other choices do they have? So this is my first post. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yes, it might be hard hitting, it might be political, it might be all sorts of things. But all I can say is, this is what Cluster View is about. It's about coming forward and saying what you want to say. It's about being honest, about being transparent. I can't ask you to do it if I can't do it myself. And that's what I think. That's what I'm concerned about. That's what I'm thinking about right now. I haven't talked to a few people about this knife crime and gun crime and all these issues that we're seeing on the streets. And it's been going on for quite a while, for many years, and nothing's been done. We have a mayor who's doing the best he can, but not doing enough. We have austerity, we have all these things that's not making it easier, and we have young kids who, sadly, we have the London riots as a result. So we need to do what we can, and I think a black middle class being established will make a huge difference. So please send in your posts. Come on, be honest. We've got the honest talks on here. We've got the honest tree. We need to open up. The more we open up, the more we understand each other, the more we talk to each other, the more we put forward our perspectives, and other people can have a view over those perspectives and talk about those perspectives and disagree with those perspectives, challenge them and say, dude, come on, what are you talking about? There is one. I'd love to know more. I'd love to know more. I'd love to have your thoughts. Seriously, I'm talking about, I really would love to have your thoughts. Black, white, green, whoever you are. Come on, have something to say. And let's take this on. Let's start seeing where it's going. Where can it go? And let's see if anyone else believes that we need one. If we don't, tell me. I think we do. I think it'll make a big difference and it'll change a hell of a lot of things. Mark Kenny Abel, thank you very much for your time.